Picture this. You wake up in the morning, your phone buzzing on the nightstand, announcing the arrival of 100 messages, notifications, and reminders. Before you've even swung your feet out of bed, a sense of urgency takes hold. Your mind races, emails, deadlines, appointments. Sound familiar? For so many of us, this is the rhythm of modern life, a constant tug of war between what we must do and the calm we desperately seek. But what if there were another way? Imagine starting your day differently, not with a frantic glance at your calendar, but with a single, deliberate breath. Imagine waking up and, before diving into the chaos, allowing yourself just a moment of stillness. It sounds simple, almost too simple, yet this practice has transformed lives. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary power of mindfulness and, more specifically, the art of letting go. The chaos of modern life. The world we live in is faster and more connected than ever before. From the moment we wake, we're inundated with demands on our time, our energy, and our attention. According to a recent study, the average person receives over 100 notifications a day. These interruptions not only distract us but create a lingering undercurrent of stress that we carry through every interaction. Public figures like Michelle Obama have spoken openly about this struggle. In her memoir Becoming, she describes how the weight of public life, combined with her roles as a mother and first lady, often left her feeling stretched too thin. Despite the whirlwind, she learned to anchor herself through moments of quiet mindfulness. Her secret? Breathing. Simple, deep, intentional breathing. The same tool available to every one of us. The mindfulness revolution. Mindfulness isn't a new concept, it's been practiced for centuries. But in recent years, it has gained attention in the West, with scientists and leaders alike championing its benefits. What makes mindfulness so powerful? It allows us to interrupt the constant chatter in our minds, to step back from the chaos, and to reconnect with the present moment. Take Jeff Bezos, for instance. Before founding Amazon, he faced a pivotal decision: to leave a lucrative job in finance for a risky startup venture. The decision seemed daunting, even reckless. But Bezos credits his ability to step back from the noise and envision his future self with making the leap. He called it his regret minimization framework, a way of quieting fear and focusing on what truly mattered to him. This clarity isn't reserved for billionaires or world leaders. It's accessible to anyone willing to pause, breathe, and let go. Why letting go matters? At the heart of mindfulness lies the concept of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the tight grip we often have on outcomes, expectations, or even grudges. When we let go, we free ourselves from the emotional weight that holds us back. Consider Nelson Mandela. After spending 27 years in prison, he emerged not with bitterness but with a profound sense of forgiveness. He understood that holding on to anger would only perpetuate his suffering. Instead, Mandela practiced letting go, focusing on unity and reconciliation. His story reminds us that letting go isn't about weakness, it's about finding the strength to move forward. Letting go in practice, a breath at a time. So how can we start? Begin by sitting in a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a deep inhale through your nose, feeling the air cool as it enters your body. Let your belly rise like a balloon. Then exhale slowly, feeling the tension leave your shoulders, your chest, your mind. As you breathe, notice the thoughts that arise. Maybe it's a worry about an upcoming meeting or a replay of yesterday's argument. Don't fight the thought, simply observe it. Imagine it as a cloud drifting across the sky. Acknowledge it, then let it pass. With each breath, you reclaim a little more space, a little more peace. Even Serena Williams, one of the greatest athletes of all time, relies on this practice. She has shared how mindfulness helps her manage the intense pressure of professional tennis. Before stepping onto the court for a match, she takes a moment to focus on her breath, letting go of distractions and grounding herself in the present. This simple ritual empowers her to perform at her best. The ripple effect of mindfulness. The beauty of letting go is that it doesn't just change how we feel, it changes how we show up in the world. Mindfulness creates a ripple effect, influencing our interactions, our decisions, and even our relationships. Consider Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. When Nadella took over the company, he faced a toxic, competitive culture. Instead of reacting with frustration, he approached the situation with mindfulness and empathy. By listening deeply and leading with intention, he transformed Microsoft into one of the most innovative and collaborative companies in the world. His success illustrates how letting go of ego and embracing awareness can lead to profound change. The first step on a transformative journey. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's that mindfulness and letting go are within your reach. You don't need hours of meditation or a perfect life to start. All it takes is a single breath, a deliberate inhale, followed by a slow exhale. In that moment, you've already begun. So as we move forward, I invite you to stay curious. Let's explore the art of letting go together, one breath at a time. Guided meditation. Imagine starting your day not with the noise of an alarm or the rush of responsibilities, but with a deliberate inhale, a moment of tranquility. As you sit in a relaxed yet alert position, close your eyes. Feel the gentle pull of gravity grounding you. Let your forehead soften, releasing any creases of tension, and allow a soft smile to emerge. This is your gateway to calm. Take a slow, deep belly breath. Picture the air entering your nostrils, cool and refreshing. Feel it travel down, expanding your diaphragm like a balloon. Hold it for a brief, weightless moment, then let it escape. As you exhale, visualize tension dissipating like smoke fading into the air. Repeat this process. Each breath is an invitation to peace, a subtle yet powerful transformation. Deep breathing is more than a relaxation exercise, it is a scientifically supported tool to combat stress. When you slow your breath, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's rest and digest functions. This lowers cortisol levels, reduces heart rate, and clears mental fog. For example, when public figures like Oprah Winfrey or Michelle Obama face the pressures of their roles, they've shared how mindfulness helps center them. Oprah often credits her ability to stay composed in high-stakes situations to her meditative practices, emphasizing deep breathing as the foundation. By paying attention to the rhythm of your breath, you reclaim control over your mind and body. It's a simple practice that transforms not only stress but also the way you approach life's challenges. As you continue breathing, notice the physical sensations accompanying each inhale and exhale. The air is cool as it enters your nostrils, warming slightly as it flows down your throat. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Pay attention to the texture of your clothes against your skin, the stability of the ground beneath your feet, and the rhythmic pulse of your heartbeat slowing with each breath. Consider the analogy of a ripple in a pond. Your breath is the stone dropped in the water, creating waves of calm that radiate outward. Each sensation is a wave, grounding you in the present. Even powerful leaders like Barack Obama have leaned on mindfulness to maintain clarity. During his presidency, Obama often began meetings with a moment of reflection, focusing on breath and grounding himself amidst the pressures of leading a nation. He demonstrated how pausing for mindful breathing could guide thoughtful decision-making. As you breathe, thoughts may intrude. You might remember a work deadline, replay an argument, or worry about the future. Instead of resisting these thoughts, observe them. Picture them as clouds drifting across the sky, acknowledge their presence without attaching yourself to their weight. Letting go of thoughts doesn't mean suppressing them, it means refusing to let them dictate your emotional state. This practice is akin to Warren Buffett's approach to decision-making. Known for his calm demeanor, Buffett credits his success to staying grounded and not overreacting to market fluctuations. He observes without panic, allowing reason to guide his actions. By practicing mindfulness, you adopt a similar approach. Instead of spiraling into stress, you develop the ability to observe and let go, responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. To illustrate the transformative power of mindful breathing, consider the story of Serena Williams. As one of the greatest athletes in history, Serena often faced immense pressure on and off the court. She has shared how focusing on her breath helped her manage nerves before critical matches. By centering her mind through deep breathing, she found the strength to perform at her peak. Another example is Jeff Weiner, former CEO of LinkedIn, who implemented mindfulness practices in his leadership. Weiner encouraged his team to pause and breathe before tackling complex problems. This culture of mindfulness not only reduced workplace stress but also boosted creativity and collaboration. Both Serena and Wiener exemplify how mindfulness isn't limited to quiet spaces. It can be integrated into high-pressure environments, empowering individuals to stay composed and perform at their best. Breathing as a tool for emotional resilience. Mindful breathing isn't just a technique for relaxation, it's a tool for building emotional resilience. When emotions like anger, sadness, or frustration arise, focusing on the breath creates a buffer. This pause allows you to process feelings without being overwhelmed by them. Consider the example of Nelson Mandela. During his 27 years of imprisonment, Mandela endured unimaginable hardships. He later shared that moments of quiet reflection and deep breathing helped him maintain inner peace and compassion. This practice enabled him to emerge not with bitterness but with a vision of unity and reconciliation. Through mindful breathing, you too can navigate emotional storms. It teaches you to respond with grace rather than react with impulse, cultivating strength in the face of adversity. Practical applications of mindful breathing. Incorporating mindful breathing into daily life is simple yet profoundly effective. Here are some scenarios where this practice can be a game changer. Before important meetings, take 3 deep breaths to center yourself, just as Steve Jobs reportedly did before delivering groundbreaking presentations. This practice sharpens focus and calms nerves. During conflicts, when faced with an argument, pause to breathe deeply. This helps to escalate tension, allowing for a more constructive dialogue. In moments of overwhelm, if tasks pile up, step away for a brief breathing exercise. As Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Meta, advises, taking a moment to breathe can clarify priorities and prevent burnout. A daily ritual for lifelong peace. Turning mindful breathing into a daily ritual creates lasting change. Start with just 5 minutes each morning. Over time, extend this practice, integrating it into various aspects of your life. By doing so, you build a reservoir of calm that you can draw from in moments of need. Remember, even the most accomplished individuals, whether they lead nations, innovate industries, or inspire through their art, find power in pausing. The breath is always with you, a constant source of stability in a world of change. Stories illustrating the power of mindfulness. Finding clarity after a major life decision. Mindfulness can often illuminate the path forward when faced with life-altering decisions. Take the story of Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon. In the mid-1990s, Bezos had a secure job at a prestigious hedge fund. He was grappling with a daunting choice: remain in the stability of his current career or pursue his vision of an online bookstore, a concept that was untested and risky at the time. Bezos later explained how a moment of mindfulness helped him make the decision. He envisioned himself at age 80, reflecting back on his life. By quieting his mind, tuning out external pressures, and focusing inward, he recognized that the regret of not pursuing his idea outweighed the comfort of staying put. This clarity came not from overthinking but from letting go of fear and connecting with his core values. This practice of stepping back and observing his thoughts without judgment is a cornerstone of mindfulness. It highlights how letting go of emotional noise and external expectations allows clarity to emerge. Parenting with patience. A daily test of mindfulness. Parenting is one of the most challenging yet rewarding roles, often testing emotional resilience and patience. Consider Michelle Obama, the former First Lady, as an example. While navigating the pressures of public life, she prioritized raising her daughters, Sasha and Malia, with grounding values and emotional stability. In her memoir Becoming, Michelle shares how mindfulness played a significant role in managing the chaos of balancing family life with her husband's demanding political career. She describes moments when her daughters would act out, as all children do, and how focusing on her breath and letting go of reactive emotions allowed her to approach the situation calmly. Rather than snapping or escalating the tension, she would take a moment to observe her feelings, acknowledging frustration but not letting it dictate her response. This practice resonates deeply with many parents. Mindfulness doesn't erase stress but equips you to handle it with composure. Michelle's ability to pause and center herself enabled her to maintain a nurturing environment for her children despite the immense pressure of life in the public eye. Letting go in challenging interpersonal situations. Mindfulness is particularly transformative in navigating difficult relationships. Consider the example of Nelson Mandela. After spending 27 years in prison, Mandela emerged not with bitterness but with an extraordinary sense of forgiveness and reconciliation. This wasn't an act of weakness but of profound mindfulness. Mandela reflected on the importance of letting go of anger and resentment, recognizing that holding on to these emotions would only harm him further. He described how he used quiet moments in his prison cell to reflect on his emotions, observing them without judgment and gradually releasing their grip on his mind. By practicing mindfulness, Mandela was able to see beyond his personal pain, focusing instead on the broader vision of healing a divided nation. His approach reminds us that letting go is not about forgetting or excusing wrongdoings, it's about freeing ourselves from the weight of emotional baggage to act with clarity and purpose. Overcoming workplace challenges. Mindfulness also finds powerful applications in professional settings. Take the example of Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, who has often spoken about the importance of empathy and mindfulness in leadership. Early in his tenure as CEO, Nadella faced significant challenges in transforming Microsoft's culture, which had grown stagnant and overly competitive. Instead of reacting impulsively to these issues, Nadella adopted a mindful approach. He began by listening deeply to employees' concerns, observing the company's dynamics without rushing to judgment. This allowed him to understand the root causes of dysfunction and develop strategies to foster a more collaborative and innovative environment. Nadella's ability to remain calm under pressure and focus on the bigger picture exemplifies how mindfulness can enhance decision-making and interpersonal dynamics in the workplace. By letting go of ego and reactive tendencies, he rebuilt Microsoft into a company that prioritizes creativity and teamwork. Personal reflections on letting go. Mindfulness isn't just a practice for extraordinary leaders, it's accessible and transformative for everyone. Reflecting on my own experiences, I recall a time when a close friendship was strained by a misunderstanding. The initial surge of anger and hurt was overwhelming, and I found myself replaying the incident in my mind, amplifying the negative emotions. One evening, during a mindfulness meditation, I chose to sit with these feelings instead of pushing them away. I noticed the tightness in my chest and the rapid pace of my thoughts. Slowly, as I focused on my breath, the intensity of the emotions began to subside. I realized that much of my anger stemmed from assumptions rather than facts. This practice of letting go allowed me to approach my friend with curiosity rather than defensiveness. We had an honest conversation, and our friendship not only recovered but deepened. This experience underscored the power of mindfulness in transforming conflict into understanding. A practical story of resilience. To further illustrate the impact of mindfulness, consider the story of tennis champion Novak Djokovic. Djokovic has openly credited his success on the court to his mindfulness practices, particularly in managing high-stress situations during matches. During a pivotal match in the 2019 Wimbledon final against Roger Federer, Djokovic found himself facing 2 championship points. The pressure was immense, with the crowd overwhelmingly supporting Federer. Rather than succumbing to the tension, Djokovic used a mindfulness technique. He focused entirely on his breath, letting go of the noise around him. By anchoring himself in the present moment, Djokovic regained his composure, saving the match and ultimately securing the championship. His ability to stay centered under extreme pressure is a testament to the transformative power of mindfulness in high-stakes scenarios. The universality of letting go. What all these stories have in common is the ability to release attachment, whether to fear, anger, or expectations, and find clarity in the present moment. Letting go doesn't mean disengaging. It means approaching life with openness and curiosity, free from the constraints of reactive emotions. This lesson is universal. Whether you're a world leader, a parent, or simply navigating everyday challenges, mindfulness offers a way to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It teaches us that true strength lies in the ability to pause, reflect, and let go. Lessons on relationships. The power of not taking things personally. The principle of not taking things personally. In relationships, whether personal or professional, conflicts are inevitable. A seemingly innocuous comment, an unexpected reaction, or even silence can trigger emotional responses. The key to navigating these situations lies in not taking things personally. This principle encourages us to see others' actions as reflections of their own experiences rather than direct attacks on us. Consider a common workplace scenario. Imagine you're leading a project, and during a meeting, a colleague dismisses your idea, saying, "That's not going to work." The comment stings, leaving you feeling undervalued and defensive. However, by stepping back and applying the principle of not taking it personally, you might recognize that the colleague's response could stem from stress about deadlines or frustration unrelated to you. A similar approach was famously adopted by Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Meta, during high-stakes situations. Sandberg has shared how she learned to pause and consider the broader context behind others' behavior. By reframing criticisms as opportunities to understand rather than as personal attacks, she built stronger, more collaborative relationships with her team. The psychology behind the principle. When someone acts harshly or criticizes us, their behavior is often a reflection of their internal state rather than a judgment of our worth. This concept is supported by psychological theories like projection, where individuals attribute their feelings onto others. For example, a manager who is insecure about their own performance might criticize employees more harshly, not because of their inadequacies but as a projection of their fears. Understanding this dynamic can significantly reduce stress. If you interpret someone's outburst as a symptom of their struggle rather than a critique of you, it becomes easier to remain calm and empathetic. Practical strategies for emotional resilience. To practice not taking things personally, you can adopt several strategies. Pause before reacting. When faced with criticism or conflict, take a moment to breathe and assess the situation. For example, Michelle Obama has spoken about the importance of pausing during tense interactions, particularly in her role as First Lady. By grounding herself, she could respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. Reframe the situation. Ask yourself, what might this person be experiencing that led to their behavior? Reframing helps shift the focus from blame to curiosity. For instance, if a friend cancels plans at the last minute, consider their potential stress or exhaustion instead of assuming they don't value your time. Cultivate empathy. Developing empathy allows you to see situations from another person's perspective. Take Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, who emphasizes empathy as a core leadership value. By understanding the motivations and challenges of others, Nadella transformed Microsoft's culture into one of collaboration and innovation. Set boundaries. While empathy is crucial, it's also important to establish boundaries to protect your emotional well-being. Recognize that not all feedback or behavior requires your energy. As Oprah Winfrey once said, you get in life what you have the courage to ask for. This includes asking for respect in relationships. Practice self-validation. Remind yourself that your worth isn't determined by others' opinions. Public figures like Taylor Swift have spoken openly about the importance of self-validation. By focusing on your values and achievements, you become less susceptible to external judgments. Scenario: a difficult personal relationship. Now consider a personal scenario: a family member who often criticizes your choices. Their comments may feel hurtful, but viewing them through the lens of mindfulness can reveal deeper truths. Perhaps their remarks stem from their own regrets or fears, rather than a genuine assessment of your decisions. A well-known example of this principle in action comes from Barack Obama. As president, he faced relentless scrutiny and criticism, often from people who misunderstood his intentions or policies. Obama has described how he learned to focus on his goals and values, rather than internalize negative opinions. By maintaining this perspective, he could continue leading with clarity and resolve. The stress-reducing power of understanding others. Understanding that others' behavior often has little to do with you can dramatically reduce stress. When you stop taking things personally, you free yourself from the emotional burden of their actions. This shift in perspective fosters inner peace and strengthens relationships. Scenario: navigating a challenging team dynamic. Imagine you're part of a team where one member frequently interrupts and dominates conversations. Instead of viewing this behavior as a personal slight, consider their motivations. Perhaps they feel the need to assert themselves due to past experiences of being overlooked. A similar approach was taken by Nelson Mandela during negotiations to end apartheid. Mandela faced leaders who were dismissive and even hostile. Instead of reacting with anger, he sought to understand their fears and motivations. This allowed him to build bridges and create a foundation for reconciliation. Mandela's example illustrates how understanding, rather than judgment, can transform even the most challenging dynamics. Reflection: how letting go enhances relationships. Letting go of personal attachment to others' words and actions doesn't mean ignoring bad behavior. It means choosing not to let it control your emotional state. When you let go, you gain clarity, enabling you to address issues constructively rather than defensively. Consider the story of Serena Williams, a tennis icon who has faced immense pressure and scrutiny throughout her career. Williams has often spoken about how mindfulness and letting go helped her maintain focus. By refusing to take criticism personally, she has remained resilient and continued to excel. The ripple effect of not taking things personally. When you practice this principle, its benefits extend beyond your own well-being. By staying calm and centered, you set an example for others. In professional settings, this can lead to more productive collaboration. In personal relationships, it can foster deeper understanding and connection. For instance, when Warren Buffett navigates disagreements in business, he emphasizes listening and understanding over reacting. This approach has earned him respect and trust, even from those with opposing views. Practical exercises to apply the principle. To integrate the principle of not taking things personally into your daily life, try these exercises. Daily reflection. At the end of each day, reflect on interactions where you felt upset. Ask yourself, what might have influenced the other person's behavior? This practice builds empathy and reduces emotional reactivity over time. Mindful journaling. Write about a situation where you took something personally. Describe the emotions you felt and the assumptions you made. Then, rewrite the narrative from a neutral perspective, focusing on possible external factors affecting the other person. Meditative practice. During meditation, visualize a recent conflict. Observe the emotions it triggered without judgment. Imagine releasing these emotions, like letting go of a balloon. This exercise strengthens your ability to detach from reactive feelings. By embracing the principle of not taking things personally, you gain emotional resilience, reduce stress, and foster healthier relationships. Whether navigating workplace challenges, personal conflicts, or societal pressures, this practice empowers you to approach life with grace and understanding. The journey we've taken. We've explored how modern life can feel overwhelming, how the constant demands on our time and energy leave us searching for calm. But amidst the chaos, mindfulness offers a lifeline. By letting go, we reclaim control, not of external circumstances, but of our inner world. We've heard stories of remarkable individuals, Nelson Mandela, Michelle Obama, Jeff Bezos, who used mindfulness to navigate immense challenges. Their journeys remind us that the ability to pause, reflect, and release is not just powerful but transformative. Practical wisdom for everyday life. Now it's your turn. How can you bring this practice into your daily life? Here are a few suggestions. Start small. Dedicate just 5 minutes a day to mindful breathing. Over time, you'll notice a shift, not only in your stress levels but in how you approach challenges. Practice during transitions. Use moments of waiting, whether in traffic, in line, or before a meeting, as opportunities to center yourself. Reflect on relationships. The next time someone's words or actions upset you, pause. Ask yourself, is this really about me? Chances are, it's not. A personal invitation. Let me share one final story. Not long ago, I faced a situation that left me feeling hurt and frustrated. A close friend had made a comment that felt dismissive of my efforts. My initial reaction was anger. I wanted to defend myself, to argue. But instead, I paused. I took a deep breath. I asked myself, what might they be going through? In that moment, I let go of my need to be right. When we eventually spoke, the conversation wasn't about blame but understanding. That single act of mindfulness strengthened our friendship in ways I couldn't have imagined. Your first step begins now. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. The journey to mindfulness and letting go isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Each breath, each moment of awareness, is a step toward a calmer, more centered you. And so, I invite you to take that first step. Inhale deeply, exhale fully, and know that you're not alone on this journey. Together, we'll explore the transformative power of mindfulness, uncovering the peace that's been within you all along. Welcome to the Dharma Blossom. Your next chapter begins now.